Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back, darling.
How are you this week, Jess?
How am I today?
How are we today?
How are we today? You know what? Speaking of today,
Hmm.
we are talking about self-care
Yes,
and whatever
that means.
the heck that means.
We don't know.
She
Do
told
you
me
know?
she told me not to swear. So if it sounds so unnatural, me saying heck, it's because I really want to use my favorite F word expletive, but
Yes.
I am told to refrain.
Yep.
Anywho,
It's a time. It's a hard
speaking
time.
of self-care,
Self-care.
we are, well, I think I can speak for both of us. We're violently hungover.
We were shaking the ass of
Yeah.
the
We
of the what variety would you say? The violent variety? Violently moving the caboose, if you
it
will.
was it was a time for the ages. But speaking of being hungover, I'm not gonna lie, getting myself out of bed was hard.
Oh man, I honestly
Getting myself
thought,
here
Yep.
was harder.
Yep.
Sitting with that light
It's quite
for an
difficult.
hour is gonna be really hard. So I brought something for you.
A gift?
No.
Oh.
A gift for me, and because you're here, I am making you partake with me so I don't look stupid.
Okay.
My best friend.
In the spirit of I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. In the spirit of Christmas, here's giving.
One of my best friends imparted some wisdom onto me. We opened a bar together. Best time of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Also came with a lot of really rough mornings.
Yeah.
But there was something that Teeny always said. She's like, you know what? A girl can do anything with a Caesar and a pair of hater blockers.
I agree.
I don't love Caesars, but I do love a good pair
Caesar.
of hater blockers. Because the bigger the better. Oh my God, that feels so good already.
You look like Snooki. I love that.
But I did bring her a pair so that I don't look ridiculous by myself. And now, this is so much better.
Oh mon Dieu, dans la très bien, ma soeur. Très bien.
You look great.
Do I? Let me look at you. Look at me. You look so good.
You look so good.
I can't see myself.
You look so good.
Do I look like I'm about to take the kids to soccer?
You look like you just had your 7th Botox appointment this week.
Yes!
It's great.
That's a goal, man.
What was I? But you know what?
Yeah, hater blockers and a Caesar. That's our advice for self-care. But also, what else does self-care?
Because honestly, we'll
entail?
just address this. This is only going to happen when
Yeah.
one or both of us is hungover. So if
Yeah.
you see the sunglasses,
No.
we're never going to bring it up again.
But the sunglasses will make appearances when they need to make appearances.
And we're just not going to comment on it.
Yeah.
But you'll be in the
if
know.
you know, you know.
Yeah.
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 It'll just between us girls.
Just between us girlies.
Just between us girls. But anywho, let's get back to it. Self-care.
Self-care.
What? You know what? I'm going to do it and you're going to bleep it. I need one.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
What the is self-care?
Preach. No, that was a good usage of the word. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, real. I think that self-care is so different to so many different people. And I think that self-care is very subjective because it's in the name. It's your self-care. So it's finding, I think, what works for your sense of, like, rebuilding that sense of self and what it means to care about that sense of self. I think it's very subjective. And also, sometimes self-care isn't always baths and face masks and...
Most of the time.
Most of the time, it's not.
Most of the time, self-care is just not pretty.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I got so hung up on. And kind of bringing it back to what we talked about like weeks ago about like girlhood and womanhood.
Yep.
The going through that change and learning how to take care of yourself as a woman is so difficult.
It's a big, like we have like my self-care, it's not always
Instagrammable.
Yeah, no, it's not always glamorized. It doesn't have to be this big glamorization of, oh, I'm just having a me day. Like, that is stupid. And it makes it less accessible to lots of people when
I also feel like
over glamorize that process.
Yeah, I also feel like it makes self-care feel trivial and frivolous.
Yeah.
That it's when people are like, oh, like, treat yourself. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. And you should do that. But also self-care looks like getting an emotional support water bottle for every room that you walk into.
Yep.
Whether it's like your bedroom, your bathroom, your car, your office. Sometimes you just need to put a water bottle in every room.
Yeah.
So that you drink your water.
Yeah.
Because we're all friggin' dehydrated.
So incredibly dehydrated. And put down the coffee. You don't need a fourth cup.
Okay, that's not true.
Nah, well, you know what? When they're double shot espresso ones, put it down.
Oh, we went down to double shot?
You know what?
This is only a double?
You know what?
It's a venti.
No, it's quad. It's a quad shot.
Thank God.
Come on now.
Jeez.
Don't put some respect on my name.
Okay,
Put some
sorry.
respect on my name.
But also, yeah, like, I think that self-care it's so frustrating when
it has to be
people
this big,
trivialize it like that. And it's like, you know, it really is hard to prioritize yourself and it feels selfish and it feels almost dirty in a lot of ways. And learning to combat that with age is being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And recognizing the different aspects of your life that you do need to implement self-care. And I think over the last few years, I would say in my personal life, I have started using things so frequently that I never realized were self-care.
Yeah.
And so when people started talking about it, and like self-care has obviously been a buzzword for a long time.
Yeah.
When people started talking about it, I was like, I don't think I really do any self-care.
Yeah.
And then I felt really bad because I wasn't doing any self-care. But I think it was nobody ever really explained it to me.
No, you're going through the motions of self-care, and you are caring about yourself, and you're doing all of the things, but it's not marketable. It's not monetized, and it's not somebody trying to sell you another face mask to go and like sit down in red light therapy, because you, in all honesty, go sit in the sun, go take a mental health walk, go there are so many different ways to take care of yourself that don't have to be huge tasks or big.
It's not expensive.
Yeah, it shouldn't be expensive.
Like, so much of our life is so expensive and
it's influenced by
by everything.
By
it's also so inaccessible to so many people.
Yes.
And that was something that I struggled with. I was like, well, I don't have the extra money to go to the spa or to, you know, like buy a really expensive bottle of wine.
Exactly.
Like, it was all of those things that I was like, well, that feels frivolous to me and it doesn't align with what I want. But it's also, self-care looks like budgeting.
Yeah. Self-care looks like getting skip the dishes and sitting on your couch and opening up your banking app and going through and like figuring out what your budget is going to be for the month and what you want to spend your money on or what you want to save your money towards, because those are the things that you get to look forward to. It's setting goals for yourself. It's setting things up for yourself that propel you forward. And I think that is,
I like that.
Right?
I want to say that again. It's setting I want to say it in a way that's like, because you know I love my sayings.
Yeah.
Self-care is anticipating the needs of the tomorrow version of you.
Yeah.
And making her day easier.
Yeah.
What can I do today to make tomorrow a better day?
Yeah. Yep. And honestly, honestly, those things snowball
so much.
So quickly. It makes such a difference. Like we literally on the way here, we were talking about closing duties, right? That's a form of self-care.
Absolutely.
Because if I clean my kitchen, if I have a whole setup and I have my space nice and ready to go as soon as I get home, I'm not going to order food or go out for food. I'm going to want to cook. Mm-hmm. And cooking for myself has always been a point of like contention. So making that an easy process is me caring about myself and caring about my savings and caring about my health and caring about what I put in my body and also fueling that so that I'm moving forward. That is a form of self-care. There's so many like mundane things that people categorize as just chores or tasks, and it's really just those things are, you have to rework your frame of mind.
I think it's also learning the language of self-care.
Yes.
And like I've come to realize this over the last little bit, that I've always known that words matter. Yeah. And I've always been very intentional with my words and like I love reading and writing, and like words have so much power. Yeah. But I also think that being able to explain something to people and like in a way that it takes it a level deeper, that it's not just saying like, because we've established a few things over the last couple of years that have really helped, I think, not only us, but also the people around us to be able to talk to us and meet us on a level that we all understand. Like one thing we use quite frequently is spoons. We really need to, you're going to have to put in like a credit for whoever came up with that.
I don't know who, like that was
I'll send it to you. Okay. But like, I know that it's an actual theory, and it's, but it was like an actual like concept, the theory of spoons. Yeah. And like mental energy being equated to spoons because it's a neutral language. Yes. Yeah. That it's taking mental health and taking mental energy, which there's so many implications of that. Like saying, I don't have the energy for you today can be a little harsh or taken in a misconstrued way. Absolutely. And you don't mean it like that.
Never.
And it's not that I don't love you or that I don't love our friendship or XYZ. It's that I just don't have the spoons.
Yeah, the spoons.
And taking it and calling it something so mundane allows you to step back from it and allows you to step away from the guilt and the shame and all of that and just be able to say, you know what? I used up all of my spoons today. I had to go to work. I had a really long meeting, whatever it was. I used all of my spoons. I can't go out for dinner because it's just not going to
fill that.
And it's going to empty me, and it's going to take spoons from tomorrow.
And I think that comes with, but I think that also comes with like very much our personality. Like we are, I would say omnivert. I love being an introvert, but I also sometimes when I'm around my comfort people, I do have my bucket filled. But a lot of times when you are around very extroverted people, sometimes they don't understand the energy draining thing as well, which I think that neutral language kind of brings it back in, so they can understand, like, okay, it's not that I don't want to hang out with you, it's that I need time to recharge. Yeah. And that maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but this is how I'm equating it to that kind of thing.
And I think it also allows other people to take a step back and be like, okay, this isn't about me.
Yes.
That it's like, okay, you know, it has nothing to do with me, and you're allowed to recognize that, because so often with any sort of relationship, you have that insecurity of like, oh my God, am I bothering them? Am I like too much? And blah, 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 blah. And it's really hard when someone you are quite close to, or when being with them is filling your bucket, but it's emptying theirs. That's a really hard feeling. Yeah. Because you need that. Yeah. But they can't always give that to you. Yeah. And so I think that's something in our relationship and the relationship we built with quite a few other people, that we use that language a lot. Like well, like mom started using
Mom
uses it all the time.
Yes. Yep.
And
Yep.
like I use it at work.
Yep.
Like, and it's very, and when I explain it to people, they're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And it clicks.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, but it also helps people ask how they can help you.
Yeah.
Without making it sound like you need help.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, especially as someone who hates asking for help.
Yeah.
If someone is like, how can I help you? Immediately my brain turns off. I can't.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you can help me.
Yeah.
I quite literally shut down.
Like, it. Yes. No, me.
It's never going to work. But if you ask me like, hey, how can I help you wash a spoon?
Yeah.
Or like,
yes.
what washes your spoons?
Yes. Yep.
And then if I say, okay, like washing my spoons is like my laundry being done, not having to feed my dog.
Yep.
Like
making sure she's out for, like, making sure the dogs are out and
being
like,
able to like
socialize or whatever like those. Sometimes the neutral language, it helps people meet you halfway when they didn't know what was going on to begin with. It brings it down to a more specific level of emotional understanding.
It's taking something that is super personal and super
kind of hard
sensitive, and making it more, and making it easier to talk about, and making it more accessible to everyone. And like language in a lot of things is so important. And one of the things in my self-care is I've had to learn how to explain my emotions.
Yes.
And how to ask for support in a way that makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because asking for support drains me super heavily. Like I will feel guilty for weeks for asking someone to do anything for me.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And it's really hard for me to balance that, but being able to tell someone that like, hey, I really, really, really appreciate you doing that for me. But if you talk about it, it makes me want to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I need to pretend it didn't happen. Know that I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
But at this point in my life, and not with everything.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I can show gratitude and like for most little things. But if it's a big thing, I need you not to make a big deal out of it.
Fair. Yeah.
And like, not in a way it's like, because some people, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for asking me. Like, I've been wanting to help you so much. Like that. And it comes from a really good place, but it makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, was it that obvious?
Yeah.
That like I needed help and didn't ask for it?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously. But it's like, that makes me feel worse.
Yeah.
Because then I feel guilty for not asking for help.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a vicious cycle. But learning to explain what I need and learning to use the language with people, like even the concept of being overstimulated. Like we both deal with overstimulation a lot.
Yes.
And it took me a long time to be able to express that I touched velvet an hour ago and it's still making my brain crawl and I need to leave. Like, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to the people around me, they would be like,
yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Gotcha.
You head on home.
Yeah.
Like, peace out, homie.
That's like me if I'm hangry. The people around me and the people who know me, it's like, Georgia, when her blood sugar drops, she's a different person. You have to get food in her or else she's going to internally combust. And there's just nothing. Like, my brain just doesn't process information the same. And I know that. So it's like a big self-care part for me was getting myself on a snacking cycle, or like self-care for me is throwing easy snacks in my bag, or easy food, or comfort foods. Like I have a big texture thing. We know Georgia doesn't like certain textures. So it's like finding the safe foods, like, and not not, and if I'm in a situation that it's like I need to explain that safe food to another person, it's like I'm prepared to bring it myself, or bring those accommodations myself. And I think that's that has been part of my self-care journey, is learning that it's not always going to be there, and it's a problem when it starts affecting other people, when I am flipping out because I haven't eaten and my blood sugar is low and I'm a monster. Like,
that is a huge point to touch on too. Yeah. Because I think that, like, I say this all the time, but your mental health, your well-being is not someone else's problem.
Never. Take care of yourself so that other people aren't forced to take care of it for you.
Exactly. And you should never be putting someone in a situation that you are hurting them because you haven't taken care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I say never. Nobody's perfect. Yeah. There's always going to be those moments.
Sometimes you have little blips.
And you do make it someone else's problem. Yeah. But also, again, learning the language to be like, hey, you're really affecting me right now.
Yeah.
And, like, I need to walk away from the situation or whatever. Like, putting those boundaries in place is a huge form of self-care.
Boundaries. Yes. Like, there are so many nuanced ways you can be caring for yourself that people don't talk about enough. And I think that it's like we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but the de-influencing, it's de-influencing self-care and de-influencing the way that we talk about it and the way that we practice it, to a point where it is just honestly taking accountability for yourself, taking accountability for your actions, emotions, and how they affect others and how they affect you. Like, be aware of those things, be conscious, because honestly, it's you need to give your head a shake if you're just running around like
when you're dealing with mental health, anything, it's any sort of mental health struggle is going to make self-care that much harder.
Yeah.
And I found that I started recognizing my self-care more and more in my times of biggest struggle, more than anything.
Real.
That I recognized all of the things I stopped doing.
Yeah.
When I no longer
had the energy to put
the
into
mental
those
capacity
things.
for it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then I realized that I was like, okay, these things are contributing to my mental health.
Yes.
And there's so many decisions that you make in a day.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they set you up for success or failure. And sometimes there's just nothing that you can do.
Yeah.
But you deserve to feel like someone is taking care of you.
Yeah.
And that someone needs to be yourself. Yeah. So if you can't make it out of bed
parent yourself.
that day,
parenting yourself is a form of self-care.
True.
Yep.
Yeah. If you can't make it out of bed that day, put a pack of baby wipes by your bedside.
Yep.
So at least you can wipe your face.
Feel clean.
Because you deserve to feel clean.
Yep.
And
put snacks in your bedside table drawer.
Yeah.
Put a water bottle
in every room.
In every room. Emotional support water bottles are goated.
I'm literally just trying to justify how many water bottles I own.
No, I think I need to go buy another one after this. Like, okay.
My favorite one right now
give it to me.
Is where did I buy it? I think at the dollar store.
Okay.
It's the one with all my stickers on it.
Oh, yes. I do enjoy that one. Yeah.
Okay.
It was I think it was in the last episode.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But so I have a thing for stickers.
Yeah,
I
make
love
it
stickers.
fun. So and all of those mundane tasks as well. Sorry, but that
romanticize them.
Romanticize the mundane tasks.
Yeah,
like we talk about. I didn't really touch further into it, but closing shift, right? We talk about like.
Well, let's break that down first because I feel like that's a very niche.
It's
terminology.
like a service industry thing.
So, if you have ever worked in the service industry. Or seen a service industry meme.
Yep.
It's usually somebody screaming, "Who closed last night?"
No, real.
It was me. But essentially at the end of a shift at a restaurant, you have closing duties. Mm-hmm. you
refill,
restock all the
condiments,
rags, you like
wash
whatever,
up,
you wash
shine,
up, you do the
roll
closing
cutlery.
duties.
Yeah.
You can half-ass closing duties.
Yep.
And they're still done, but the opener has to redo them.
Exactly.
So if you apply that to your life,
if you are half-assing your closing duties and you wake up the next day and you have to do that, and then it's like you have to redo the closing duties from the night before, and then also do full closing duties that night or half closing duties, you're not setting yourself up for that future your future version of yourself is not being propelled
be
forward.
kind to your openers.
Yeah.
And if you have to think of them as separate people, like think of yourself as separate people, honestly, because sometimes you don't want to be kind to yourself.
Exactly.
You're like, I hated today. I hate everything that I did, everything I said. And that's fine. Feel like that.
Yeah.
But take tomorrow out of yourself.
Yeah.
And don't be mean to her because she didn't do anything to you. Today, you might not like yourself. Today, you might hate her.
Yeah.
But don't hate tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't hate the girl that has to deal with tomorrow.
This is like the compartmentalization and separation of kind of self like that is a big point in self-care as well because when I keep a baby picture of myself on the fridge, and every time I go to the fridge, I think about, not without getting like too deep into it, but I go to the fridge and I think, okay, so is that little baby Georgia version of myself getting the nutrients she needs to grow, the nutrients she needs to have her brain on, the nutrients that make her a bright and vibrant person? And it's applicable to other areas as well, because if you're sitting there crying in a corner or in your crib, are you going to yell at a baby? No. You're going to pick up the baby, you're going to rock the baby back to sleep. Sometimes you just need a nap. You're going to rock the baby back to sleep, and then the baby's going to get up, and the baby's going to be groggy and cute again, and the baby's going to be okay. So that's how I think of like self-care as well, is like
baby.
It's parenting yourself, but it's also understanding that there's a small child version of you deep inside your subconscious screaming at you saying, please just give me a second. I need to tie my shoes and I don't know how. Like that is.
It's so true. And sometimes the hardest part is recognizing that eventually you're allowed to care about your adult self the same way that you do care for a baby.
Yeah. And
you
that's
didn't
when it comes
lose
together.
value.
Nope.
Because you grew up. You didn't lose.
Oh, you didn't lose value because you grew up.
Oh, ouch.
Oh.
Go me.
Yeah, self-5.
Self-5.
Wait, high five.
Oh my God.
It just gave me flashback.
Yikes.
Ah!
Yikes.
Anyway.
But
those versions of yourself will come together when you realize.
When you're ready for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's easier for you to look at that little baby and go, okay, I have to take care of the kid today.
Yep.
Take care of the kid.
Yeah.
Take a step back and
that's a really good strategy. I like that.
I learned that in
therapy.
I
don't think I have. That makes sense. Shout out to Lois.
Love you, Lois.
So what do you think has been the hardest form of self-care for you?
Hardest form of self-care.
And maybe it's something that like you still struggle to like keep up with, or like that you have to remind yourself to do more than others. Because like there's some forms of self-care that I find like are really easy for me. Like I know that like I need my coffee the minute my eyes open. Yeah. So I pre-make my coffee most nights.
Yes. Yeah.
Most nights I set my coffee maker so that I can wake up and just have coffee.
Imagine waking up violently. Okay, just interjecting real quick. Imagine waking up violently hungover, crawling, literally bare kneed crawling to the kitchen and looking at the coffee maker, looking at the empty bag of El Salvadorian beans that is just staring you right in the face and thinking, this mother trucking son of a goddamn corn on the cob has no coffee.
I genuinely don't think in my entire life.
That was my morning this morning.
I genuinely don't think in my entire life I've ever run out of coffee.
And this was not the day to run out of coffee.
This was not the day to run out of coffee. And I knew that I was out of coffee, but I had to. So this is why I'm out of coffee. I'm going to, this is why I'm, kind of, this is why I'm out of coffee. Because I needed to stop at the store, which Jessie doesn't grocery shop.
Grocery shopping sucks, man.
I don't grocery shop.
It's an overstimulation
That is
nightmare.
a point of my self-care. I order groceries.
Me too.
I allow myself
realizing
the frivolity of paying $10 in service fees because it saves my mental health.
It also saves you money because when I go in there, I feel like I completely black out from the sense of like overstimulation that I'm like, oh, this looks good. Yeah, I cook this. I'll get this.
In the end, it probably evens out. But my lovely, lovely, beautiful roommate is a grocery shopper. She is a run to the store for two things type of shop. She goes to the grocery store probably every other day. My literal nightmare. But my lovely, lovely roommate is out of town for a month and a half. And so me yesterday, we're getting ready to go out and I'm prepping. I'm like, oh, I got an outfit. Like I gotta, take my dog for a walk because she's been in her crate all day. And then like, I'm going out tonight. Like I'm going to take her for a nice walk. It's like, oh, I could walk to the store and stop in and grab a bag of coffee. And then I was like, I have to be out with the general public for most of the remainder of the evening. I have about 2 hours from the time I got home from work to the time that I was supposed to be at my reservation. And in those 2 hours, I was like, do I
think I want to spend 2 of those precious alone time hours in a goddamn grocery store? You have got me mistaken.
And so, and this is how I was going to mitigate that.
Okay.
I was going to go to a Shoppers Drug Mart so that I could buy nylons.
Icon? They didn't have nylons.
No. I skirted around myself and asked my wonderful sister-in-law if she had nylons.
Oh.
And she, lo and behold, the angel that she is, had an unopened pair of nylons. So I did not have to go to the store for nylons, which was a necessity for that night. Henceforth, I did not get coffee. And I would have slept all day. Instead of facing the day without coffee. Which was a very long-winded, very long-winded way to say that part of me taking care of myself is making coffee.
So I think that one of my hardest forms of self-care would be showing up for myself health-wise and doctor's appointments.
Oh,
I hate that. I hate that. But I know that for so many other areas of my life, it is a necessity that I need to be on top of. And if I don't schedule that appointment, if I don't go to that appointment, then I'm not going to be able to go to school or go to work or go to anywhere other than my bed with a heating pack on my back. Like these are like I have to show up to those. So I think that one's like it's a consistently hard one for me mentally, but also physically to get to those.
Because it's not something that it's not something that feels good in the moment.
No.
Like it absolutely, like going to the doctor. I mean, I'm sure has to be some psychotic people out there that think that that's like a normal part of their day or like is no big deal.
Some people love it. Some people love the doctors and love the hospitals.
I wasn't going to go that far.
It's wild.
I wasn't going to. That's a whole other level. But... And I don't know why we both violently hate it. But...
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Anywho. But it doesn't feel good in the moment.
No.
And realistically, it never really feels good.
No.
Like, to have to take care of yourself in that way and, like, have to go to the medical appointments and deal with all of that stuff. And it never really feels good. But it allows you to do the things that do feel good.
Yes. Sometimes it's doing the things that you have to do so that the things you want to do are there for you. Like you are able to get to those things.
Yeah.
So what would your most What would be your most difficult part of your self-care?
My diet and exercise.
Fair. No, that one's a big one. Yep, I feel
that. And I go through so many different waves of different strategies to try and help me cope with it. And like, and it's always been something that doesn't come easy to me.
Yeah.
And it is something that I struggle with based on all of my other struggles.
Yeah.
But it's also like most of the time I don't want to eat because I don't want to hear crunching.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. And then sometimes I just like, I want to exercise, but it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And like, that's not an appropriate time to exercise.
Well, I mean, with 24-hour gyms, it's possible.
Well, but like, with a 9 to 5 job.
That's probably not
like,
the best
not the
time
best
to work out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard like that when like little things like that get in the way. But then also like all of the big things and like dealing with, a history of eating disorders and all of that fun stuff. It's something that I have to be careful with because it will very quickly spiral into something that's not healthy.
Yep.
And I think that's also something that I've had to take a step back from and kind of allow myself some grace in that area. That when everybody's like, oh, you need to work out, like working out is healthy for you. I'm like, it is to a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I allow myself to dive into that, I will work out twice a day, track every calorie that enters my mouth.
Yep.
And be so obsessed with it that I can't think of anything else.
Yep.
And so finding the balance between that and nothing is something that I really struggle with.
It's very hard to find that balance if you've had a history with that. And I know for some people it doesn't feel like that at all, and it's very hard explaining it to people that haven't been through that.
Yeah.
But for somebody who gets it, you get it.
Yeah.
Like it's again like it's also like an addictive personality thing. Like if you have an addictive personality, then sometimes
it's also a huge ADHD thing.
Yes.
All or nothing.
Yes, all or nothing. We very much do all or nothing in a lot of aspects in our life.
Yeah.
And diet and exercise is a really hard one to do all or nothing for.
Yeah.
And you have to be a special type of person to be able to do all or nothing and sustain that and be healthy.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between sustaining a certain diet and exercise and looking a certain way or performing in a certain way, but also maintaining your health during that.
Yeah.
And
and it's something, and again, like with like grocery shopping, I flipping hate grocery shopping. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to.
Nope.
It's not going to happen.
No.
And you know what? Like eating toast and peanut butter or cereal, not that great for you, but it's accessible and it puts something in my body. But what I'm learning, one strategy that we have to make everything a positive. One strategy that I have added into my life to try and combat that is making healthy things and good choices more accessible.
Yes. Buying the healthy snacks because that's what you're going to end up snacking on because it's the only thing you have.
Yes, but also when I buy those things, making them readily available and ready to go. Like if I do a big grocery shop and I know that's going to take all my energy and I know that I have to like process that, I am going to make sure that I set myself up that day, that I have the energy to also wash and cut all of the vegetables.
Yep.
To make sure that everything is prepped so that I can throw an omelet together or a stir fry.
Deconstructed meal prepping. We were talking about this the other day.
Meal prepping.
Yes. No, sometimes meal prepping doesn't always, and that's a big thing for if you've ever struggled with diet and exercising. Sometimes meal prepping doesn't have to be the containers of chicken and rice. It can be like bell peppers cut up And also spinach in like in little cubes, and you defrost the spinach, you cut up the bell peppers, you put an egg in the thing, and boom, you've got an omelet.
Yeah.
And but it was already prepped, but it was just putting it together.
Yeah.
All of the like line cooking stuff, you don't have to do. That's a great way to set yourself
and that
up.
has honestly, and it's not something that I do all the time, but I do notice when I actively make that a priority, I eat better.
Yes.
And I take care of myself in that way. And there's a lot of things that like, and I'll make better choices when I've set myself up for success.
Yeah.
And that's something that when I'm struggling, I have to be like, okay, what am I slacking on?
Yep.
No, I haven't prepped anything for myself in a long time.
Yep.
And like,
maybe I should,
you know, take the time, build up my spoons to do that.
Yep.
And then be able to say, okay, now I'm set up with that.
Yeah. Yep.
And like that, or even like Amanda and I at work, we have made it a priority to have not only snacks, because we're snack queens.
Yep.
Love our snack cupboard, but also having things in the fridge that we can make meals from.
Yeah.
Or at least a semblance of a meal, because people tell me my definition of a meal is not
girl dinner, like little girl dinners.
I am a girl dinner queen.
Yeah.
But I also don't really like meals. And that's also something I've given myself grace with.
Yeah.
People tell you not to snack or like you need to eat 3 meals a
That's
day
a lie.
or you
That's
need to eat
lie.
like whatever. I love snacking.
That is especially when if you're have any sort of ADHD or if you're on the spectrum kind of thing, snacking is freaking huge, man.
Yeah.
Because when you're burning energy, you need to be able to feed that, and sometimes I go too long and I forget to make a big meal and I'm gonna skip lunch.
But then also I get bored
So
eating it halfway through.
Yes.
I don't, and then I have 2 bites and I'm done.
Yep.
And like this is kind of a weird superpower that I have. Well, I don't know if I would call it a superpower, but my ex thought this was hilarious because I can tell you exactly how many bites of something I want.
Yes. Yep.
And when I say I want 3 bites,
You want 3
I
exact
want
bites.
exactly 3 bites.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
And so if we're out for dinner or something and he's like, okay, well, do you want to share this? I'm like, I do want to share it, but I want to have 6 bites and that's it.
Yeah.
So are you going to eat the rest?
Yeah.
And at first he thought it was like he thought it was kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Or that I was just being like specific. And then he slowly started to catch on. He's like, no, eat more. I was like, no, I said I wanted 6 bites. I had 6 bites.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
But like with most meals, that's what happens is I can't have 6 bites because then the rest goes to waste.
Yeah.
Or I don't want really more than 2. So why am I making a whole meal for 2 bites?
Yeah.
But snacking is really accessible to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think that's a big point of self-care is you don't have to do everything by yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes you body doubling.
We love a good body double.
We love a body double.
For those of you who aren't
Neurospicy.
Whoa. For those of you who aren't neurospicy, body doubling is a practice that basically if somebody is in the room with you, you
have forced accountability.
Well, and it's also your brain shuts off the part of you that doesn't want to do the task.
Yes, yeah.
Because you're not focused on yourself anymore. Your brain is able to like mirror the relaxing of somebody else.
Yeah.
While still doing the task.
Yes.
And
yeah,
it's a lot easier.
If somebody's sitting on my bed, I'm going to get my whole room clean, my laundry done. If like, 100%. So finding support, so reaching out to support is also a form of self-care. Reaching out and not relying on that support, but also knowing in yourself when you need to reach out is a form of self-care.
Yeah.
Like,
and recognize that.
Yeah.
And don't be a part of self-care is learning what you can and can't do by yourself.
Yeah.
And then actively implementing things. Like one of the strategies that I used to use with my ex was I'd ask him to take me grocery shopping because I like to do like big Costco hauls because
big family.
Big family. And it's just always been a thing for me. But also like then I only have to do it once.
Exactly.
But I don't push grocery carts.
Yep.
Because I don't like the rattling.
Yep.
And I don't like crowded spaces.
Yep.
And I get very distracted and spend a lot of money.
Yep.
My ex was very good at following a list.
Yep.
And would not let me stray from the list.
Yep.
So I would give him my list.
Yep.
He would push the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the kicker. He would buy me a hot dog when we first got there.
Oh, so smart. So
smart. I'm walking around Costco, happily munching away on my hot dog.
Yep.
Because I'm not tired and overwhelmed at the end when, that's when you usually get the hot dog.
Yep.
I'm not tired and overwhelmed. I'm happily munching away.
Don't ever go grocery shopping hungry. That's a form of self-care.
True.
But yeah, no, you're gonna be less
and then
distracted
it
by
was
all those
so
things.
good, and it made everything so much better.
Yeah. So also like, yeah, no, that's a big thing. It's like the people that you want to do those tasks with, like a form of relationships can be a form of self-care. Investing in people that actually give a crap about you is a form of self-care.
Yeah.
Like it's not a self-sabotaging behavior. Like it's at that point it is propelling your life forward, and those are the people you want to keep around. The friendships, the romantic relationships that are in it for you being the best version of yourself. Those are the people that you want to keep around, because when you can't get out of bed because your brain is stinging you that day, they're going to come over, they're going to sit in bed, and then they're going to then you have the energy to get up and do your laundry, but you didn't have to ask them. They didn't have to, like,
that's the biggest one, is the people that you don't have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is
invest in those relationships.
Absolutely. And there's the people that just know you so well. Like one of the things, I'm obsessed with my dog. Like, I'm sure that we'll talk about her in a lot.
Jessie has a binder for when people babysit her dog. She makes them follow the binder.
It's called The Guide to Gremlin.
Yeah.
And it has pictures.
Oh yeah.
It's color coded.
Oh yeah.
There's diagrams.
It's diabolical. Anyway, moving on.
I think that it's perfectly reasonable. But one of the things,
we're talking about cognitive dissonance.
But one of the things that one of the things that sometimes takes more spoons than I have is feeding her. Yeah. And I love my dog. Yeah. I also love my dog enough to feed her a very specific diet with a lot of things.
Yep.
A lot of moving pieces. And sometimes it's really hard to make myself get out her food, get out her supplements, get out the scale, like put everything where it's supposed to go. And yes, I could feed her kibble.
Yep.
And have it be super quick and easy, but that's not going to make me happy in the end.
Fair.
But feeding her a really healthy diet and, being really aware of like her macro and micronutrients and blah, 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 that brings me a lot of joy. But sometimes in the moment, it's really hard. Rosie, God bless her soul, is also now decided that she is a morning person and gets up at like 5:30 in the morning, which couldn't be me. But she will make breakfast for them. Mm-hmm. And that is something that means so much to me, even though it's so little. The fact that I wake up in the morning and if I haven't prepped my coffee the night before, she's on it. There's coffee made.
Yep.
And like Rosie is an angel and, drinks a full glass of water and has breakfast before she's
very type A person.
Before she has her coffee. I think Mel Robbins told her to do it.
Because cortisol. No, lower your cortisol levels. Put something other than coffee into your body. Okay, This is not for Jessie. Jessie needs coffee before she is a person in the morning. But to lower your cortisol levels, it is so important to put something in your body first before consuming a stimulant like caffeine. Like, I will do the same thing. I get up, I have a tea, like I have my little peppermint green tea. I drink a full glass of water. I do my makeup. I make breakfast, but I have my coffee with my breakfast.
I'm pretty sure tea has caffeine in it.
It does. Like, green tea has a little bit of
it's like one of those fake caffeine things like Coca-Cola.
But it's not. No, that has a lot of caffeine, Jessie. You need to understand that is insane amounts of caffeine.
Coca-Cola, but I also don't believe people that think that that's a source of caffeine.
That is it has the same or even more caffeine than a cup of coffee. Yes. Fact check me if I'm wrong.
I'm going to fact check you as soon as we're done this, but
no, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's insane. Why do you think Americans are so, like, cracked out? Sorry, bad verbiage, but Americans, please consume water. Anyway, this is so off topic. But anyway, Rosie wakes up, she makes the coffee,
she makes coffee, she feeds the dogs, and that small thing that she does,
in those gaps.
It fills in those gaps, and it allows me to have such an easier morning.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to wake up. I don't have to turn my brain on before it's ready to be on.
Yep.
I can grab my cup of coffee. I can sit down. I can read my book.
Yep.
My dog is fed, so she's not ready to eat my leg.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
It's just, and that's one of the things that I know if I need some help.
Yeah.
That is one thing I know will make my day easier. And I've started asking for it.
Yeah.
I've started being able to be like, hey, I just can't right now. Can you make Echo dinner?
Yeah.
And it helps so much, that like the people in my life know how to make her dinner.
Yep. Yep.
They've taken the time to learn it.
Yep.
And mind you, like, feeding a dog doesn't sound that complicated. Feeding my dog is that complicated.
It's that like, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, future Georgia. But no, it is that complicated. Like, this dog is
complicated.
A child. Anyway, but yeah,
she's not a child. She is a
French
rich white lady's pet project.
Yeah.
That's how her life is.
Yeah, real.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's a really important part, is investing in the relationships that do. Like, it's the things that you don't say. And I think
what do you do for other people?
Yes.
Like, I think that also, I always say this, but helping someone is a little bit selfish.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes you really need to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And so what can you do for other people?
Sometimes that's a form of self-care.
So I think we have gone over all of the big capital S, capital C self-care items that we believe in. And how they're not pretty. They're not Instagrammable.
Yep.
They're not always really obvious.
Yep.
There's so many different ways. But what is your favorite form of frivolous self-care? What is your
I love a spray tan. I want to be orange. I love a spray tan. I wanted to talk about this. I freaking love it. You know what? I got made fun of so hardcore for being a ginger and also other things, but like myself, like my when I look ghostly pale, it really bothers me. Like, it actually, like, it like, because I think it's like a trick. Like, I think it's like tricking my brain into thinking that I get more sun, because I love sitting out in the sun. I'm a ginger. I don't burn. I love sitting out in the sun. I could spend hours tanning.
Yeah, that's insane. The fact that you're a ginger and don't burn.
I think it's my brain telling my skin cells being like, stop, don't burn, because she wants to stay out here longer.
I don't think that's how science works, but
that's how this science works, Mo. Anyway, so
fair enough.
I love a spray tan. I love it. It makes me feel
That's a good one.
And it's frivolous. Because why? Why do you need it? Why? Like,
But you know what? It makes you feel good.
It makes me feel good in so many different areas.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's your favorite frivolous little
point
of self-care?
Mugs.
You do love mugs. You do love mugs.
I love mugs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also books. But that's not really frivolous.
I don't think that's really frivolous.
Okay, that could be debatable, but I don't really think that books are frivolous. I think that written literature.
That is like also like one of my biggest hobbies.
Yes, yeah.
So like some people invest in like gym equipment. I invest in books.
Yeah.
But mugs.
Yep.
Because I have so many.
But it's
I love being able to pick out my favorite mug.
Me too. No, I love your house in the morning because of that, yeah.
I also like watching other people pick from my collection.
Yeah.
Because in a weird way, I think it says something about somebody.
You're subconsciously testing them by what mug they pick out. That's wild. That's crazy.
Probably. It's like some sort of Freudian slip. I'm like,
You picked the Mickey Mouse one? What a freaking
I don't have a Mickey
nerd.
Mouse mug.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
I meant like the M&M one.
Yeah.
But Mickey Mouse came out. It's fine.
If you pick the M&M one, that's on the top shelf. That's like you're
like a go-getter.
Yeah.
Like you're not afraid to pick it out.
Well, it's like wow, the psychology of mug picking. It's like the people that pick the first one when they open the cupboard and it doesn't matter.
What the hell?
Or like the people that pick the biggest one.
Yep. They want a lot of coffee.
But then they don't drink it all.
Oh.
Yeah, that bothers me. Or like the people
oh my
that
God,
pick, like,
we
the plain
could dive
one.
into the
we
psychology of mugs.
Really could.
Wow.
But I fully believe it. But it's also something that, yeah, it's pretty frivolous for me because I have probably upwards of 40.
That's insane. Jessie, you have a lot of mugs and a lot of underwear. Girl. What is going on?
I don't know. I just want to sit in my underwear with a different mug.
No, real.
That is so that is what I will be self-caring from now on. I will be sitting in my underwear.
Yep.
And with my I will be sitting in a different pair of underwear with a different mug every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's self-care.
That's self-care, baby.
I love it. Oh.
But in all honesty, I want to kind of bring this back on a serious note. This is self-care. I didn't want to
take my love.
I didn't want to get out of bed today.
No, real.
Because I'm old and hangovers now like kick my ass. I didn't want to. I even told you I was like I can't look cute.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No.
And
fair.
But I was like, you know what? This is something that I've put my energy in that means a lot to me, that I am doing something creative and committing to something, because I have a hard time committing to projects and like actually following through with them unless they're for somebody else. And this is something that's for me, like obviously for you too, but like this is something I'm doing for me. And like committing to that is hard, but also being held accountable
showing yourself that you were committed to this was a point of self-care to me. Yeah, because I needed to feel like I commit to something. Me too. Yeah. It makes me feel like getting out of bed today, like I again crawled to the kitchen. Like I did not, I knew we were gonna do it, but it wasn't I'm jumping up and down ready to go to the studio. But
it wasn't easy.
You know what? It gave me a point to jump off of for the next task that I have to do tonight. Yeah. That's like, Georgia, you already did a hard thing today. Why not do another hard thing?
Get the ball rolling.
It got the ball rolling. And I think that this is like an outlet for both of us to be able to speak on topics that like we want to speak on. And it doesn't matter because nobody's going to tell us we can't talk about it. Like it's something that we have pretty much like ownership over.
Yeah, that's very true. We have our own autonomy over this.
Yes.
And that's like kind of the best and worst part is that there's nobody telling us to do it.
Yep.
There's nobody to keep us accountable, but we can keep ourselves accountable. Yeah. And that's a big growth point for me, is that like I want to care about myself enough to be accountable to the things that bring me joy. Yep. And So yeah.
No. And we keep each other accountable with this.
We do.
Which is
you more so than me. But I'll get there.
That's right.
Yeah. And apologize to future Georgia for all of my swearing.
No, I'm apologizing to her too. Like, I love talking.
Actually, I think I toned it down.
No, you did. You very much did.
I think
you very much did.
Thanks. I work really hard on that.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. Can we stop for coffee on the way home?
100%, please. Okay. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you being here. And again, we're so glad to have you in the sisterhood. All of our socials will be linked here on the screen and down below. And tell us what your favorite frivolous self-care thing is that you do. And because we want to hear about it. Maybe we'll try it out. Maybe we'll...
Yeah. Make it ridiculous.
Make it so...
I want to hear, like, honestly.
Like, I buy different types of hot sauces because I like spicy, like, that's your frivolous self-care. I don't know, something.
I do that. I don't think that's frivolous. There's a different hot sauce for every different thing.
Anyway.
Anywho,
we hope to see you.
What week is this?
This is week 3.
Hot and dangerous week 3.
Hot and dangerous.
You know, it takes 21 days to build a habit. And we have been doing this for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So
technically 4,
but like I feel like we're getting in the habit.
It's become habitual.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go us.
Go
Self
us.
5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we hope to see you next time.
Stay hot and dangerous.
Have a great week. We'll see you in about 168 hours. Thank you. Bye.